friends, it is Tuesday, September 19th. I hope everything is going well. We just finished our Board of Supervisors meeting. We started a little after 9, like 9:02, and ended at 1:52. So it was a longer meeting. We had a lot of discussion and we had several items in executive session. We also had about an hour and a half of call to the audience. And so I just want to make note that even though we changed the policy and limited from 3 to 2 minutes, thus far, since we made that policy change, everyone that comes to the Board of Supervisors meetings has been able to speak a call to the audience. So I'm going to go ahead and start with announcements. Happy Hispanic Heritage Month, Mes de la Herencia Hispana. We had the Ballet Folclórico Los Tucsonenses from Tucson High come. I'll talk a little bit more about them later, but I'm hoping that we can have some student showcase of talent in our amazing community every board meeting, especially this month. So Saturday, September 30th, this is going to be a busy one for District 5. We have the second annual Yellow Heart Memorial Walk, which we had a proclamation for today. And thank you to Maria Suarez for coming and accepting that. And we are honoring those who we've lost to COVID due to at this memorial walk. The walk will be starting at 9 and will go until 10 a.m. and will begin at the Garden of Gethsemane, which is 602 West Congress Street. And for more information, you can email tucsonyhm@gmail.com. We also on this day have the Drum Up for Peace event will be taking place at Kennedy Park Fiesta area from right in the heart of District 5 from 10 a.m. to 11 p.m. and District 5 will be there. So come by and say hi to us. This event is a great community gathering, an opportunity to celebrate a more peaceful world with vendors, resources, as well as activities and food. So a big thank you to Director Bruce Loya of Los Tucsonenses, Ballet Folclórico Los Tucsonenses from Tucson High. They came to the board meeting today and performed beautifully. It really just helped to set our meeting off in such a beautiful tone, and I was very grateful because I know it's a lot of work to get a group of students to one place to really essentially dance a song, like 4 minutes. And so thank you so much, Mr. Loya, for bringing your amazing students and showcasing all of the talent in District 5, by the way. Thank you to Noah Sanchez, one of the dancers with Ballet Folclórico Los Tucsonenses, and it's obviously a Tucson High student, for reading the Pledge of Allegiance. And thank you to Kimberly Baeza. She's Permit and Regulatory Compliance Officer with the Pima County Regional Wastewater Reclamation Department, for reading the land acknowledgement. We appreciate you. And thank you for doing that. I remember meeting you and just sort of cornered you and said, would you be willing to do the proclamation? So I'm so glad that we were able to showcase you and all of the, just employees in our community that are doing such wonderful things. So the Sergeant at Arms issue was an issue that has had some media attention, and I want to address it. I received an email on Sunday from our Sheriff Nanos, who indicated that effective immediately, the Sheriff's Department would not have a presence and would not be providing security at the board meetings. And he indicated that we have VetSec, which we do, which is a contracted group of security, like a security firm that is there, that help to run the metal detector, that kind of thing. Unfortunately, that's not sufficient for our board meetings. I think that it's important that we have law enforcement presence there, that I have a Sergeant at Arms that can escort someone out if necessary. We have had to have someone arrested, and so I think that it's important that we have that capacity there. And so Sheriff Nanos did send our Sergeant at Arms, Robert Krieger. He was present. And we also had some people from the county attorney's office that were there, and also former law enforcement, and we had VetSec, so I felt very comfortable. But I just want to assure the community that there will be a presence. Either we will have our sheriff deputies there, or we are going to contract with the Tucson Police Department to have police officers there. But we will continue to have a presence of law enforcement at our board meetings in order to ensure the safety of everybody that is coming through. And so we do not, at the Board of Supervisors level, have any authority as to whether those deputies are stationed in our boardroom or not. That is clearly all under the purview of Sheriff Nanos. So I just wanted to make sure, because people were, there were a couple of calls to the audience that were sort of criticizing, like, we need them here, why are you taking them away? The Board of Supervisors did not, we would prefer to have our Pima County Sheriff's Department providing that support to us. So we had several proclamations today. All of them were brought forward by District 5, but I want to thank the Stop the Hate Collective, and they asked us today, it's stopthehatecollective.org, to take a pledge to resist hate speech, and so I will be doing that. And the pledge is written, and I will also do it verbally, and I think it's important that we do that. Several speakers that called to the audience and during the proclamation reading talked about the importance of reducing hate speech. There are many people that were sort of snickering and making comments, and I just think that's incredibly disrespectful, and I do my best to try to minimize that. And we actually did have one person in the audience that that was the second time that I'd spoken to that individual, and I asked them that if they spoke out again, and it was loud, it was a loud outburst, it wasn't just kind of mumbling under your breath, that I would ask that he be escorted out, and he voluntarily got up and walked out. And so if you saw somebody walk across the camera during the meeting, that's what that was about. I wanted to clear that up because I did have somebody at the call to the audience criticize me for kicking someone out. That's not the way that happened. We also had the Yellow Heart Memorial Committee, and thank you to Maria Suarez for coming and accepting the proclamation. And we're going to have that Remembrance Walk on September 30th, and then International Peace Day on September 30th. And thank you to those committee members who came to accept that proclamation as well. We had an investigation request by Supervisor Bronson to investigate Sheriff Nanos and the internal investigation, like that process, and really to seek out outside of the Sheriff's Department, either the Attorney General or some other body to investigate. And I voted against that, and I want to explain as much as I can explain why. We had an executive session item, and we had legal advice. And based on that legal advice, my decision was made very, very easy, because I think the direction was fairly clear in my opinion. I understand the frustration from everybody that came to call to the audience. I understand that we have a group of employees, like an organized group, that has put out a statement about what they consider to be gaps in an internal investigation. And I did hear Sheriff Nanos indicate that he is halting the internal investigation until the criminal and civil cases are completed. And I understand that perspective as well. And so I think that I voted my conscience, and I just wanted to explain as much as I can what happened there. But Supervisors Hines, Bronson, and Christie voted in favor of moving forward with requesting that an outside group provide another internal investigation. Pima Community College is getting more funds from Pima County for adult education services. It's a 5-year contract, and that passed 5-0. We had an update from Deputy County Administrator Holmes regarding the Transition Center, 210 engagements. 56 of those people have opted to accept services. Those numbers are significant for anyone that has worked in social services and any kind of counseling and in any way trying to encourage people to accept the offer of help. 56% is significant, and so that was a nice number to hear, and I'm glad that we've dedicated so much time to getting that transition center up and going. I'd like you to look at item number 12. It was an ARPA funding. There was a request by Supervisor Christie to break up the allocation. We had Supervisors Christie and Bronson voting no on the public health enhancements, and that was $1.2 million. What that would do is purchase a mobile health vehicle to expand statute mandated and clinical services. And so I was happy to support that. That was voted no. And then TMC enhancement, there was about $6 million for the TMC enhancement and $300,000 for electric records, like that, to improve that process. Both of those were under the umbrella of TMC. And so for the TMC enhancement, that was, the item passed unanimously, well, 4, and then Supervisor Hines abstained because he works for TMC. And then electronic records, Supervisor Bronson and Supervisor Scott and myself voted in favor. Supervisor Christie voted no, and then Supervisor Hines abstained. I just want to explain, there was a little bit of a weirdness. If you're watching the video, you're like, what happened here? I was advocating that we just approve it wholesale. And then there were also some changes in already previously approved programs that had some reallocations, some changes to their budget. And that was all included, and there's a written graph there. It's well laid out. And then item number 35, I just want to highlight because it is Valencia Road enhancements for $3.5 million. That passed 5-0. I was so glad to see this because every time we have a development that comes up in District 5, specifically in that area of Valencia and Ajo, past Camino Verde, we are in desperate need of some relief for traffic. And so I was just really happy to see this. Supervisor Bronson seconded because we both have a pretty serious difficulty commuting to get closer to town from any of those arterial roadways, whether it be Valencia or Ajo. So while we're going to get some complaints about in the interim when the traffic starts, I think it's a really good investment, and I'm glad to see it. And then I want to thank Betty Villegas. She is now representing us at the legislature at Arizona, in the Arizona House, and I want to thank her for her service. But unfortunately, that meant she could no longer represent District 5 on the a Regional Affordable Housing Commission. And so thank you to Ray Robles and welcome. He's going to go ahead and he's going to represent District 5 on that commission. Our next meeting is going to be Tuesday, October 3rd. Stay safe, my friends. Thanks for keeping up with Humay County's politics.